Today's video is a full day in the life of a mom, a stay-at-home mom, and a quarantine mom. I'm a mom to 2 toddlers, a 1 about to be 2-year-old, and a 4 about to be 5-year-old. And here on my channel, we focus on all things mom life, whether that's cooking or cleaning, but everything we do here in this space does have a bit of a healthy twist, as I am a holistic nutritionist. I get started every single morning with drinking 16 to 20 ounces of celery juice. I'm sure by now you're all familiar with the celery juice cleanse. I've done this cleanse about 5 or 6 times over the last 5 years. I like to do it before I conceive and get pregnant, and I like to do it when I'm done nursing my babies. I did just finish nursing Sawyer in February at 22 months old. So right now, after 22 months of nursing, I'm focusing on resetting my hormones. And then after doing this for about 3 or 4 months, I'll go back to intermittent fasting. I like to wake up well before my children, so that way I have about an hour and a half to work, drink my celery juice, have my coffee, and get ready. I know I've shared this before, but I am not innately a morning person. I have forced myself to become this way over the last 5 years since becoming a mom. And now with the quarantine, I savor this time more than anything. The quietness of the house quiets my mind, and it really puts me in a good headspace to take on the day. On this particular morning, everybody woke up before I had a chance to get dressed and make the bed. So I headed downstairs. I threw together our green smoothie, which again, you've heard me say over and over on my channel, but truly I call this my insurance policy. Regardless of what happens the rest of the day, I know my children have gotten their full RDA of fruits and vegetables just in the smoothie alone. I have tweaked our morning smoothie a little bit with the virus going around, so if you want the exact recipe, be sure to hit the expand arrow and check out the description box down below. While the kids are downstairs having their smoothie, I quickly head upstairs and get dressed and reset everything up here before Kaya has to head to his office for work. So I like to obviously get dressed and make our bed every day, even though we're in the house. That way, before we start homeschooling, I know I've gotten ready, I've had a chance to work, I've had my celery juice, my coffee, I've made our bed, and my children have had some vegetables. Just checking those few boxes really helps the momentum and the motivation for the rest of the day. And if we're not super motivated the rest of the day, I know I've done at least a few good things, because I've definitely had some off days during this quarantine, days where I felt completely overwhelmed and so anxious. But just this morning routine alone helps me stay grounded, because these are the things I would have done typically before we went to school. In addition to getting myself dressed, I do get the kids dressed every single day. Well, I should say Ronan gets himself dressed every day at 5:30 in the morning on his own, but I do put Sawyer in clothes every day. I'm very guilty of not dressing her on Fridays, because Ronan doesn't go to school on Fridays, and I'll leave her in her pajamas. And Fridays are typically a rough day for us. So throughout this quarantine, I've made an effort to get her dressed every single day, like myself and Ronan, and it does change things. I get her dressed, I do her hair, and most of the time it's just comfy, cozy clothes, which is totally fine, but I do that before we start homeschooling. Then myself and the kids will do a quick cleanup before Kaya heads downstairs to start working, and I'll get our space set and ready to start homeschool. So I created a daily schedule based off of the schedule that Ronan follows at school because he is a very routine person. His teacher says to me at conferences that he does so well with routine, and that's the environment that he thrives in. So I did put together a schedule based on the things that he does at school. Now, with this being said, I loosely follow this and I mainly look at my day in blocks. I've talked about block scheduling a lot on my channel, but things have obviously changed. But I look at it like early morning, mid-morning, early afternoon, late afternoon, and evening. The reason I have these things detailed out here is if I ever feel stuck or we're having a rough day, I can reference what we should be doing and use them as prompts versus something rigid that we have to stick to. It's mainly just a prompt for if I'm like, oh, should I turn on the TV again? Should we just watch another show? I can look at this as a reference point of what we could be doing and what Ronan would typically be doing at school. And it really helps me, especially in those moments of overwhelm, like, oh my gosh, it's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Sawyer hasn't napped again for the 10th time. What can we do? So speaking of what can we do, I have been absolutely loving following ABCD Learning on Instagram and her blog. I've been using her resources along with the homework packs that we've been getting from Ronan's school, and they have been lifesavers. I am not an educator. I'm not a teacher. This is not my strong suit. So I'm following the professionals and I'm using the prompts from his teacher. I'm using the work that he was doing at school. I'm doing continued learning to the best of my ability. But really, I'm just trying to keep our head above water. So these resources have been amazing. I will link them for you in the description box down below. But the night before, I get together some resources, some worksheets that we're gonna do along with a couple of crafts. Again, I am no Pinterest mom. That is not my strong suit. Coming up with recipes and ways to get your kids to eat vegetables, vitamins, minerals, and how all of those work biologically in your body, that's where I shine. But creating fun Easter crafts is not my strong suit. So we just do simple little crafts at home. We use some glue, some paint. The kids like to get their hands dirty, and Play-Doh, and that's just what works best for us. But we do a little bit of circle time, some reading.
1, 2, 3, 4, 9 cookies.
And then we move on to some worksheets. Sawyer has gotten really into this and she's enjoyed the routine as well. And Ronan loves it too. It's flexible, it's easy, but it does mirror a little bit of the normalcy that he had at school.
Okay. What's your name, scissors?
Oh, do you cut? No, this one you don't cut. Okay, so let's see. Read the words and color the picture and then write the word, okay? So Ronan, could you start by writing your name at the top of the worksheet? Very good. So we're gonna write, see how that's T-A-P? We're gonna now write T-A-P in the squares to match. So see, the first letter is a
T.
Very good, Ronan.
The next letter is a B.
A, very good, Ronan.
Next letter P.
That's right.
The next one is fox.
Fox, very good.
So Spiers.
After worksheets, we take a little bit of a break. We run around, we do freeze tag in our basement, or we'll run laps up and down our long hallway here on the first floor. Then the kids have a little bit of their energy out and they play independently pretty well for about 20 minutes after this. At that point, I will go ahead and unload the morning dishes and get everything put away. Or if they're not playing independently, I'll set them up with their first snack of the day. Right now, we've been doing some yogurt or some apples with sun butter, something quick and easy so that we can hurry up and get outside before Sawyer's nap. If it's over 25 degrees, we have pretty much been spending minimum of 2 hours outside because it is my savior. Then we come in, wash hands, and Ronan will play independently with puzzles or Legos while I tirelessly attempt to get Sawyer down for her nap. At this point, when I'm recording this voiceover, I'm pretty sure it's day 10 or 11 that she has skipped her nap. But we still go through the routine. I take her up, I put her in the rocking chair, I even put her in the crib sometimes, unless she starts panicking, then I don't. But right now, we're going through a nap strike, and it couldn't be at a worse time, but I'm trying to appreciate the good and the time we have together and focus on the fact that she pretty much is just having too much fun with her whole family to nap. So we're gonna make believe here that this is actual champagne or rosé, but it's actually just the rosé kombucha, which I love. At this point, Sawyer is not napping, so now her and Ronan are doing a little bit of independent play, which they do really well after we spend time outside, while I go ahead and get together some lunch. You can see here I have some bagged lettuce. I bought this when everything started to happen. I love to have bagged lettuce on hand as a quick starter. I don't ever use the dressings or any of the sides. I just like to use the bagged lettuce as a base, and then I chop up other fresh vegetables and lettuces that we have in our fridge. I am going to be pairing this with some of our absolute favorite frozen sausages. You've seen me use these frozen Applegate sausages so many times, but we love them as a great addition to our lunch. At this point of the day, once everybody has finished their lunch, I will turn on some sort of show on the TV. So whether it's Curious George, which they love all the Curious George seasons and movies, we own them all, or it's Daniel Tiger, or even at this point Frozen 2, which is Sawyer's absolute favorite. But I will turn on something on the TV, which buys me a little bit of sanity and time to get the kitchen cleaned up from after lunch. We then had a huge Amazon delivery, and I get questions all the time about my slippers. I'm always wearing the LL Beam slippers. I love those slippers, but they're so expensive. And Brittany Vassar recommended these on her channel. I bought them and I love them. They are such a good dupe for the LL Beam, which I think are like $80 or $90. And I got these for $17. So I've been living in them. At this point, the kitchen is clean. The kids are playing. We've turned the TV off. They're doing a little bit of independent and free play for a little bit. Then while they're happily playing, I will administer their afternoon vitamins and then get them all set up and take my afternoon vitamins. It's something that we're really diligent about. Obviously, with me being a holistic nutritionist and having a background in nutritional science and biochemistry, I'm very passionate about vitamins and supplements, and obviously with everything going on now more than ever. So this is just something we simply don't miss. So after we take all of our vitamins, which if you're curious about what I'm taking, please feel free to hit the expand arrow in the description box down below. I will have everything linked, and if you have any specific questions, you can always leave me a comment in the comment section down below. However, I do have an entire video on my morning supplement routine, which covers most of what I'm showing you here. After we've had a chance to all take our vitamins, we then will get ready to go back outside for our afternoon outside session, which is probably our longest window that we spend outdoors. We typically go out around 2:30 and come back in around 4:15, which is perfect for us to get cleaned up and then get ready for bed. On this day, Kaya had a quick break in between calls and he wanted to stretch his legs and take a breath of fresh air. So he was able to come out with us for about 15 to 20 minutes before heading back in. However, the kids and I do stay out for quite a while because I'm trying to pass the time and get their energy out. So then we come in around 4 o'clock, wash our hands. Ronan at that point will sometimes do his homework and work on things on his iPad or do any additional schoolwork. Everybody, of course, got mud stains on their clothes, so I turn on Frozen, quickly run upstairs, wash and treat these clothes with Dr. Bronner's, which gets out every single stain and never ceases to amaze me. And then we're gonna do some afternoon baking. As you can see, things never go as planned. I turned on Frozen, hopeful that Sawyer would sit and watch the movie with a snack, but that was not the case. She wanted to help me the entire time that I was making some carrot and lentil muffins. Ronan's doing a little bit of homework on his iPad. We love that app. It's so amazing. It's so easy for him to use. I don't have to sit next to him the entire time because if I'm going to use iPad time, it's so that I can get something and anything accomplished around the house now more than ever. And to be honest with you, it is extremely helpful and educational. So my helper here and I are gonna make some carrot and lentil muffins. I've made these before on my channel. However, the last time I made them, I used oat flour. So I did make some modifications, which I will outline all of this in the description box down below. And I will apologize in advance because whenever I do cooking and recipes for you, you're used to seeing a lot of different camera angles and cuts and things of that nature, things that you might not even realize, but it's something that I do to make sure that the video is appealing and fun to watch, where this one, unfortunately, I kind of had to set the camera and bake because of my small helper here. We've been doing afternoon baking almost every single day. Ronan loves to bake with me. He always has. And to be honest with you, it's really such a fun thing for him and I to do together. But I find that when we come inside, if we bake something, then we can enjoy it after dinner. The kids really appreciate the whole process of putting all the ingredients together, helping me bake them. And it really is such a good time for us to spend together doing something with our hands. I know obviously they say baking includes math, and I talk about that a bit with Ronan as well, but we talk a lot about the foods. We talk about the nutritional benefits of the things that we're eating and how that makes our body feel and what vitamins and minerals are provided to us through these foods. For example, during this recipe, he and I would talk about the vitamin A in the carrots and the vitamin K and E and vitamin B6 that we're getting from these muffins, so that when we enjoy these muffins, not only are they delicious, but they're also incredibly healthy for us and they give our body nourishment and energy. Again, don't forget to check out the description box down below for the recipe to these muffins, as well as the smoothie that we made for breakfast. When I pull these out, the whole house smells so good, and we've reached the point of the day where Dad is done with work. Honestly, this is when I take a deep breath and I think, I did it. We survived another day, because many of them, there's a few points where I don't think we're going to make it. Kaya has decided to grace us all with dinner tonight, and we are making some veggie loaded tacos. I'm using some of those lentils from the muffins we had earlier. We have in some shredded zucchini and some rice cauliflower that we've put together with some grass-fed beef. Then we're going to use that leftover bag salad to stuff the tacos. We're using the Siete chickpea flour wraps, as well as Kaya did buy some blue corn for he and Ronan. They like the crunchy tacos, but Sawyer and I eat the siete ones. At this point, the laundry that I started before the muffins is done. So I'm gonna toss all of that into the dryer so I can check the box of 1 load of laundry a day. Even if I accomplish it just right before dinner, I still made it in. Then I move into the after dinner cleanup, which also includes prepping coffee for the next morning. I really like to have everything set and ready before the kids go to bed. That way, after I put them to sleep, I can have my me time, which includes a lot of work and editing, and then shows with Kaya ultimately after all of that is said and done. I like to have all of the chores done. Now, Sawyer has not been napping, as I've mentioned a few times. So with that, she has been going to bed at about 6:15, 6:30 every single night, which is absolutely crazy. But she asks to go to bed, she grabs her babies and wants to walk up the stairs. Once everybody's asleep, I do a quick tidy up because I have to have the room completely reset for the morning time. It's just one of those things. And then I do pick one area a day to do a quick wipe down and clean. Today it was the powder room because you can see Sawyer's okra hands from when she was eating her okra snack is all over this sink. And plus, this is our powder room on the first floor, which gets used a ton. So I'm choosing this as an area to clean after I've put everybody to bed. I want to thank you all so much for watching and remind you that you're doing an amazing job and that we're all just trying our damn best right now. So I hope this video gave you some motivation and some inspiration. And if you liked it, it would mean a lot to me if you would give it a big thumbs up and then hit the subscribe button. It's right on the screen here. That way you don't miss a single video, and I hope to see you back here next Thursday.